Hi, so now you can work on your quiz corrections. If you made below a 70, when you make your corrections, you can make a 70. You only correct the problems you missed. You have to show all work and write all problems down and turn in both papers. And if you made above a 70, you only correct the problems you missed, and when you finish, you turn in your paper and you get 10 extra points. Okay, so let's begin. This is number 1. We have to first, we're trying to isolate x, so we want it all alone on one side of the equal sign. So first we're going to distribute so that we can get this 3 with 3x and with 5 because they're in parentheses. So 3 times 3 is 9x, and 3 times 5 is 15, and we bring down our 60. But when you are solving, you do inverse operations. So now we're going to try to move from one side of the equal sign to the other so we can move everything away from x. The opposite of plus 15 is minus 15. So since 15 and 60 are like terms, they need to go together. But since they're on opposite sides of the equal sign, we have to do inverse operations, which is why we subtract. So that goes away, and we have 9x is equal to 45. And now what does 9x mean? It means 9 times x. So now the opposite of multiplication is division. So we use the division bar. This is a division bar. And we divide both sides by 9. So now we have x is equal to 5. And that's the answer to number 1. So make sure you get that, and then we're going to move on to number 2. If you need to rewind, you should be able to rewind. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is 15 times the expression t plus 2 plus 9t is equal to 6. So once again, we have to distribute, but this time we have a number that we aren't going to distribute to. See if you know why we're not going to distribute to the 9t. Right, it's not in parentheses. So now we have 15t plus, don't forget, you have to high five the 2. 15 times 2 is 30 because 15 gets distributed both ways. And then we bring down 9t equals 6. Now we look at the left side of the equation and we combine all of our like terms. We have 15t plus 9t. They're both on the same side of the equal sign, so we don't change any signs. We just do what we see. 15 plus 9 is 24. So we have 24t, bring down your 30, plus 30 is equal to 6. Now we still want to move things away from t, so we're going to undo our addition and move that 30 over there with a 6. So we subtract 30 from both sides of our equation because we want it to go away on the left side. And we have 24t is equal to negative 24. Because when you have two different signs, you subtract and take the sign of the highest number. And now we want to do inverse operations. Well, again, it's the opposite of multiplication. So we divide by 24 on both sides of our equation. So for number 2, you should have gotten t is equal to negative 1. And so this is the correct answer for number 2. All right, let's move on to number 3. David, stop it. Okay, for number 3, the problem is 8 times the expression 7 minus y is equal to negative 24. So what property are we going to use? Distributive, very good. So we're going to distribute 8 times 7, which is 56, and 8 times y, which is 8y, and we have minus, and this is equal to negative 24. So we brought that down. Now we have to see what's like negative 24 that's over here, and it's the 56 because they don't have variables. But that's a positive 56 because there's no sign. So we have to subtract 56 from both sides of our equation. and we bring down our negative 8y is equal to, when you have two signs lined up like that, you combine those terms and keep your sign. So 6 plus 4 is 10, 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 1 more is 8. And now we do the inverse operation of multiplication. So we divide both sides of our equation by negative 8. And we get our answer, y is equal to 10. Because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So that's the answer you should have gotten for number 3. So let's move on to number 4. For number 4, we have a fraction here, but it doesn't change the procedures. 2/3 x minus 10 is equal to 22. We still use inverse operations to solve. The opposite of subtraction is addition, so let's still undo our subtraction. You can pretend that 3 is not there if it helps, and that way you can see that you add 10 to both sides. And then you bring down what you have left. You have 2/3 x is equal to 32. Okay, now we want to get rid of the denominator of 3. And so we're going to multiply both sides by 3 because that will cancel those out. So now we have 2x is equal to 3 times 2 is 6 and 3 times 3 is 9. So it's 96. We divide both sides by 2. And we get our answer. X is equal to 48. That's what you should have gotten for number 4. So let's take a little break here.